Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Browns pregame show here by Network 216. Browns and Titans pregame show here. Tyler Johnson joined by Zach Franco, Casey Kinnaman, Jacob Roach, Nick Carnes. Gentlemen, how are you guys feeling on Sunday morning after the game last week? How are you guys feeling this morning?
In the words of the great Zach DeFranco, I'm fucking locked in.
Yes, sir.
Waterfield.
Yes, sir.
Did I do it already? I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
You know what? It took a couple days after Monday night, but I think the brass tacks of the situation is you're still 1-1. There's still 15 games left. You have a chance to be 2-1. The only team in your division that is 2-0 is the Ravens. Everything's still right there for you.
Yeah, man.
I will say, I don't know if you guys saw it. Kareem Hunt showed up in a Nick Chubb shirt.
Oh, did he? I did not see that.
I love it, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah, between the Chubb injury news we got yesterday and then Ohio State's walk-off last night, man, the vibes are immaculate this morning.
And I'm no longer a hater of college football, per Tyler Johnson.
I also misread you there, though.
No, I probably have said that. I've probably said it. I'm sure I have.
Before we get into the Browns-Titans pregame show, guys, always as a reminder, be sure to drop a like on the live stream. Subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. We're past 2,000 subscribers. We're on the road to 3,000 now, so it's very easy. Just hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you guys are brand new to the content. We really would appreciate it. Not only can you watch the show on YouTube, you also can watch it live on Lockerverse. So you guys want to make sure you tune into the show on Lockerverse. It's completely free to join the app. And you want to make sure you don't miss QB Unplugged with Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson and Quincy Avery. That is every week on the Lockerverse app. So a great reason to head over to Lockerverse. Again, it's a free app. You want to make sure you take advantage of that. So, guys, the big news today, because we'll talk about injuries first, and then we can get into keys of the game and things we want to see today. But first off, Kareem Hunt is going to play today. He practiced this week for the first time. He has not played, didn't play any preseason, obviously. He hasn't practiced much. How much are you guys expecting Kareem Hunt to play today? I almost didn't think he was going to play just because, again, it's just been a very long time since he's taken the field. But how much do you guys expect him to play, and what kind of impact do you think he can have?
I think that the sweet spot for me is somewhere between 5 and 10 touches. Like, I think that, you get him out there and really just kind of reacclimate him to the game, I think is kind of the goal for today. But I think in the red zone, especially on the goal line and in those short yardage situations, he's still got the power. We've talked about him not having quite the juice in his legs as a reason he was not here originally until they really, really needed to go, bring something back depth-wise with Nick Chubb out. They said, he lost some juice in terms of his speed and that sort of thing, but I don't think we ever really thought he lost any power. So if they're in a situation, there is not another power back on this roster. I'd rather 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 better be Kareem Hunt, not Pierre Strong or Jerome Ford, as much as I like both of those guys. But I don't know, man. Give him like 5 to 10 touches, get him reacclimated in there, get him hit a few times, and if he's got more in the fourth quarter and they need him, go for it. But I think it'll be single-digit touches for him today.
Yeah, I feel like Kevin Stefanski is normally not too specific when he's asked questions, and he very specifically said Jerome Ford is the running back one. So I'm not expecting Kareem to come in today and get 18 carries and have a few catches to boot, but I think he's a guy that has been good for the Browns in spots. So I wouldn't you've got 3rd and long, you've got a crucial down, that type of situation. I think Kareem's the kind of guy that they trust and can rely on and have previously. So I'm not expecting a huge workload from Kareem, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a really significant impact today, that they use him in a big spot and he comes through for them.
It's situational for me. I'm looking at probably about 15 snaps. We'll see what kind of touches that results in. But what kind of impact could he had? Can you imagine if he scores in a goal line situation, what that stadium's going to feel like?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that he could have a massive impact. But keep in mind, man, this Tennessee run defense is no joke. It could be tough sledding, man. They could take the Browns out of the run game pretty early, which would put Kareem on the field more in past situations. So it's situational. It'll see how it dictates. I know they're not going to want to overuse him, but at the same time, he does have a specific skill set that no one else on this team has, and they might have to lean on it if they get into a throwing match with Tennessee.
I think in this game, too, one of the big things with Kareem Hunt is he is really good in pass protection, something that he does have over any other running back on this roster. And I think you could see, kind of like you said, Casey, if the Browns do get down this game and really have to throw a lot, I think it is the type of game Kareem Hunt could play a lot more than we expect. I do think when they get down into, like when you get down within the 5-10 yard line, that's also when you could see Kareem Hunt maybe play more than normal, because I mean that's one of the things the Browns used him for a lot when he's been here, is he was that goal line type of back. I mean, he had like a good amount of touches down in the goal line, so that would be, I think, where they want to get him the ball today, I would assume, because it's just another thing defenses have to game plan for when you get down into the red zone area. So it's awesome having Kareem Hunt back. I think he's going to add some much needed juice to this offense as far as just a spark. I don't think he's going to come out and be the old Kareem Hunt we saw, but I do think just his presence in the locker room is huge for this offense. Now, injury-wise today, the Browns are going to be without cornerback Greg Newsome. He's already been ruled out. He was ruled out on Friday. It looks like that James Hudson, we don't have the inactives yet. We're going to get those here within the next 20 minutes. But James Hudson, it looks like, will not be playing today as well. So first off, with Greg Newsome, how big of a loss you guys think that is for the defense?
I don't think it's that massive, to be honest with you, this week. This isn't a team that has a lot of speedy, shifty slots. They'll put big bodies in there. They're going to move DeAndre and Treylon over. So I don't see – me and Jacob kind of touched on this Friday night, but if Greg Newsome – obviously it's not awesome to miss time, but if he's going to miss time in the slot, these next two games, man, I could see them just waiting until after the bye to bring him back if he's iffy. Tennessee's heavy run. I don't think Greg taking a lot of contact's an awesome idea right now with a busted up elbow. Obviously, though, you want your best players to play. It's just situationally, this is as good of a situation you could ask for to be out your number one slot corner.
Yeah, and this is why you drafted Cam Mitchell as well. I mean, you heard a lot of hype around him after we drafted him. Greg Newsome, Cam Mitchell coming in talking crap, saying I'm better than Greg Newsome. So that now you get to see that could come to fruition and see how him step up in a bigger role. So I'm happy to see that as well.
Yeah, and with it, the defensive line has played so good, and obviously you can't see me because my camera does not work right now, so you can just hear me.
Oh, good. I'm
still a gift, and I still love all of you. But the defensive line, I think they're going to play a factor, and I don't think the secondary is going to have to do. I mean, they're going to see a lot of passes, but the defensive line getting to Ryan Tannehill, I think, makes their job easier, and I'm excited for that. And outside Hawkins and Burks, there's really not much of a threat. But then it's similar to the Browns for the Titans offense. We know what their quarterback can do. It's can he go do it? Mm-hmm. So it's a tale of both of that. So I think I don't like that he's out, but like Casey said, if he's out a couple weeks, that's fine because next 2 weeks we don't have a strong adversary in the passing game. So I'm with it.
There's a fun stat here I wanted to say because I just saw this. Jake Trotter said this. The Browns defense has not allowed a red zone touchdown or field goal to this point. Today, they could become the first team since 1978 to not give up any red zone points through 3 games. So that's a little stat there for you. I mean, I think that this could be an interesting game where you may see Martin Emerson inside because of the bigger physical wide receivers that they put in the slot. I don't know if they actually go that route, but it could make sense. It could add up. Hey, Treylon Burks is in there. I know you don't really want a bigger guy in Emerson in there in terms of if you got this twitched up wide receivers, but that's not who they're going to put in the slot. So if you see Hopkins in there, or you see Treylon Burks in there, you might see Martin Emerson slide in there. But yeah, I think it comes down to Cam Mitchell. But I think another big situation, a big chance. Oh my goodness, what a morning! Here we go. Another direction they could go is Grant Delpit playing more in the slot. He's already excelled in the slot this year. Well, honestly, he's excelled everywhere he's been on the field. So Grant Delpit comes down into the box a little bit more. You got Juan Thornhill and Rodney McLeod back deep. You never want to lose a guy like Greg Newsome, but at least right now, the way the defense is playing, it's just not on the lists of concerns I have today that are scary.
I think that you're going to see a lot more, nothing against Cam Mitchell, but I think you're going to see a lot more Rodney McLeod in this game than you are Cam Mitchell because, Jim Schwartz loves to run 3 safeties anyway, and now that you don't have your starting slot corner, I do believe we will see Cam Mitchell, but this is a perfect game for Rodney McLeod to get a lot more snaps. And like you said, Jacob, Grant Delpit will play down there in the slot. You'll see Juan Thornhill down there. You're going to see Grant. You're going to see Rodney McLeod down in the slot. Emerson, I think, like you said, I think from time to time he'll be down there just because he is a bigger body corner. You might see Denzel a little bit in the slot. I think he's going to move everybody around today because, again, it's next man up with no Greg Newsome. It is a loss. He's played really well so far to start the year. But at the same time, there is no secondary in the NFL that has more depth and more talent, I believe, than the Cleveland Browns. And I think today that's going to be to their advantage.
It's to his credit. Rodney McLeod played pretty well against Cincinnati when Juan Thornhill was missing. So I feel pretty good about that. And I think when you're facing a team like the Titans, I would be a lot more worried if a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson was out than I am with Greg. Greg Newsome's a great player, but I just think with the way the Titans want to attack you, if you could pick, I think losing a guy in the secondary where you are most deep is probably the lesser impact of the situations that could be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Nick, for sure. So if anyone has questions in the chat, if you guys have any questions about the game, feel free to send them to us. We want to answer as many questions for you guys as possible. So the other big news, of course, is going to be James Hudson, we're assuming, is going to be inactive today. Do you guys really think – I'm asking just because I'm curious – is that big of a loss for the Browns? Like, let's say Jed Wills does get injured. Do you feel comfortable sliding DeJuan Jones in there? Do you think that's why they brought up Ty Nsekhe? And I know I'm pronouncing that name incorrectly, but just bear with me. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? If Jed Wills goes out, do you think they go DeJuan Jones? Do you think Ty Nsekhe takes over? Do you think James Hudson is that big of a loss for the Browns because now you don't have that true left tackle that you can bring in if Jed Wills does get injured?
I don't consider Hudson a true left tackle anyway. He's quality depth, but would you feel comfortable if he's even in there? I think the left tackle position is so finicky for us. It's hard to say, man. Is this the game that they activate Alex Leatherwood?
He's not. They called up Ty Nsekhe.
They already called him up.
The dude's name.
Hey, no,
yeah, they called him up.
Props for you to attempting to pronounce it because I won't even touch that one.
Yeah, I got it. I looked it up. Are you ready?
Yeah,
let's hear it.
Let's go.
So it's Nsekhe.
Nsekhe. Ty Nsekhe.
I'm gonna put the pronunciation of his last name here in the chat.
Jacob, I love that you just found that. I don't know why that made me so happy, but I think you just took the time.
Jacob going above and beyond.
Here it is.
Okay.
That just made my whole morning.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Nsekhe.
Nsekhe.
But long story short, though, I would not move DeJuan Jones over.
I would
leave him at right tackle.
Yeah,
he's been playing right tackle this whole time, so that's a big difference for a guy like that to switch over to.
And with Nsekhe, you look at it and say, hey man, like he's played all over it in his career. 10-year veteran. There's a reason he was on a practice squad, obviously, but I actually feel better about him than I do about James Hudson. James Hudson has been a roller coaster to me because I was huge on him coming out, and Casey and I talked about this on Friday. Like, I was a big proponent on him coming out of college because, he'd only had 11 starts at tackle. He had been a defensive tackle with Michigan before going to UC, and he really dominated one of my favorite edges in that class, and Azeez Ojulari in the bowl game until he got ejected, and then Azeez had 3 sacks in the second half. But it's almost felt like he's gotten worse over time. Like, I don't know what it is. Corey Cannon has talked about it on his show quite a bit, saying, he can't anchor. Like, he cannot anchor a line. Like, that he doesn't do it. He has no anchor, which is obviously a core fundamental of playing the position. But, here we are. So no, man, like, I don't think it's a big deal either way. I'd rather a 10-year veteran there than James Hudson.
I think with Hudson too, Jacob, like the biggest thing with him coming out, like when we drafted him, some of us were like, doesn't really make sense. But then you see some of the tools this guy's got, and you're like, I mean, it's kind of intriguing. You would make the argument that James Hudson has more of a learning curve than Jed Wills, because James Hudson didn't even play offensive tackle throughout his entire college career. Right. But at the same time, you're right. I mean, he's continuously, it seemed like, regressed, and I think that's a real problem. Are you guys surprised that they didn't call up Leatherwood? Or do you think that just shows that clearly they might just be keeping him on the practice squad all year unless they absolutely have to call him up?
Maybe they just decided that he's a guy that needs time and that they aren't comfortable yet with where he's at along in the Browns program and his development. So that's better for him to stay on the practice squad. I mean, I think we're excited because, obviously he's a former first-round pick, but him being on the practice squad, I think there's some work to do there. So maybe he's just not ready.
Yeah, I'm with that. He's like a reclamation project. So like the more development he gets like in their system, even on the practice squad, the better. You don't necessarily need him right now. And hopefully we don't need him and we don't have to see him for a while. Hopefully the offensive line, plays better. But I hate that Jedrick Wills is struggling so much. I hate it so much. And now we don't even now there's no backup to him should something happen to him. So it's a very strange thing. And I think finicky was the perfect word, Casey, for the left tackle spot on this team. Because it's very up and down. Because Jed Wills in the run game, not bad. Jed Wills pass blocking, and I hate it. I love Jed. I can't defend him anymore. I can't. I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad about it. I can't defend my guy. I was defending him forever, and now I'm just like, you really got to put that through, buddy.
I won't take victory laps on this show. I won't, because it's not anything I really would want to do anyways. It's the left tackle of your franchise.
The wife of Chapo says you got to slide guys down.
What?
What?
Pause.
I don't
Sure. What? I wasn't
So the Titans do have one player so far that's been ruled out in this game is guard Peter Skoronski. Obviously, that's a loss for their offensive line. But the big news is they are going to still have the presence of DeAndre Hopkins is going to play today. It doesn't sound like, from all accounts, he is 100%. Originally, it was reported, it sounds like he was going to travel with hopes of trying to play, but he is going to play today. So, guys, we know this is not the same DeAndre Hopkins, but he can clearly still make plays. How big of a lift is it for the Titans that he's going to play today, even if he isn't 100%, just given the fact that they don't have many playmakers outside of Derrick Henry and Treylon Burks on that roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Like, I watched both of their games. I went back and watched both of their games. And the most success they had, they fed him a little bit in that second game last week when, because if you watch the beginning of that game, you wouldn't believe that the Titans were going to score 27. Even though, obviously it goes to overtime and stuff like that, they were just kind of struggling out the gate in that game. And he had a few big catches, and I felt like they really started to figure some things around. And it's not like he had 185 yards last week, but like you saw Ryan Tannehill get a little bit more trust and confidence in that connection. Mm-hmm. And I think you can see it slowly building, and it had a part of that turnaround, in my opinion. He's not the same, and he's not 100%. So it's like one of those, like, you need to put it into context. Yeah, he was kind of a spark plug, but he's not the spark plug he was, in Arizona or in Houston. But if you didn't have him, it was Treylon Burks and a bunch of dudes. So that's where it really, I think, impacts the game is it shifts everything down in terms of their roster. It's just like if Amari Cooper wasn't going to play last week, we had this conversation. If Cooper doesn't play, it's Elijah Moore, it's DPJ, but then we don't really know where they sit on anybody after that, and that kind of thing. It's a domino effect with DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion. I'm not concerned too much about him, but it's definitely still a win for them in kind of a big, important way.
Yeah, I remember when the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes was going on, and when people were talking about the Titans, they were saying like this could be one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL. So I think when you look at what it would have been without him and what it is with him, it's definitely a huge boost for them. I think Tannehill's one of those guys. He used to throw it to just throw it up there to AJ Brown, and he'll come down with it. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins is a similar type of dude where that's something that Tannehill has done well in the past. So it's definitely a boost for them. But I would be lying if I said I expected the Titans to come out and with some kind of offensive explosion against this Browns team. So they definitely have a better chance of winning, I think. But I'm not terrified of DeAndre Hopkins. Is that a hot take?
Yeah, that's probably correct, I think.
That's not a hot take, Nick. That's good. I like that.
A hot take. That's a good take.
It's a lukewarm.
I had something going, then it is nope. So I like it, Nick. That's what we'll go with.
I've seen a lot of hot takes on the internet this weekend. That is not one of them.
Zach, I don't know if I replied in the group chat, but I was like, "There's no way that's real." And I looked, and it was actually real, and I was like, "Huh, okay." That's quite the bold hot take, I suppose.
Oh, I think I did. Are you talking about the person who had to delete their bold hot take because? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
we're on the same page.
Well, to Nick's point, before they signed DeAndre Hopkins, you could have taken all the Titans receivers and tight ends, put them together, and their career touchdowns were less than Mike Vrabel's career touchdowns. A receiver. They literally had nothing.
Oh, God.
And this isn't 2019 DeAndre Hopkins, but like the stuff that he does, he still does. I mean, he was never a burner. He creates separation at the catch point, not before. Super strong hands. But I think this is him going is a huge lift just for Tannehill, because through 2 games he's leading them in targets, receptions, and yards. He's going to be the guy they look to in tough situations because he can just throw it towards him. Period. Doesn't need to be surgical. You just get it at him. He's one of those guys who turns 50-50 balls into 80-20 balls. So I think he's a lift in that way. He's not explosive. But in the red zone, he's a problem. And on 3rd and longs, he's going to be a problem, So it'll be interesting to see how Schwartz approaches him, if it's going to be a travel situation or if he's just comfortable with Denzel or Emerson getting those reps against DeAndre.
Yeah, I think in this game, one of the guys to me that just seems like the ultimate X factor, I think Chig Okonkwo for the Titans.
Yeah.
They have targeted him 6 times all year. The dude has 4 receptions for 35 yards. And we know how athletic he is. I mean, he tested very well coming out of Maryland. I've always thought he was a guy that kind of flew under the radar as a draft prospect, and I thought he landed in a really good situation in Tennessee because you saw how much they used Delanie Walker when Delanie Walker was there. I feel like, the Browns, again, still have not done well historically against tight ends. If you're looking for a guy in the Titans passing game that could really maybe kind of fly under the radar today, I think it's him. All the attention's going to be on DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like. I mean, Traylon Burks some too, but Burks still hasn't had like that huge game at this point. So I think Okonkwo is a guy they really need to watch for. Yeah. Nick, I agree. Emerson on Hopkins makes way too much sense. Way too much sense today.
Yeah, but I also think matching him up some on Traylon Burks is important too, especially if you get a rep without Hopkins on the field, like you definitely go after it like that. But I don't know. It's really interesting because you've got these big physical wide receivers, and it's kind of a little bit different than what they've faced this year. And I know Pickens can be big and physical, but like I think in this game he was more of a speed threat in the Steelers game. So it's gonna be interesting to see a pair of really big physical wide receivers against these defensive backs.
It just fits the Titans so well, doesn't it? It's like their whole brand of football is just big physical players that are gonna
Also for anyone who like has them in fantasy, it affects me in like 4 leagues. Aaron Jones is inactive again this week for the Packers.
Oh, really? Good to know.
Yep.
That is tough.
Yeah, that hurts me because he's
not to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but is Christian Watson playing?
He is not. He is out again.
And neither is David Bakhtiari or Jair Alexander.
Okay.
That is a tough.
Saints defense.
The Packers, man, are getting absolutely just destroyed with injuries right now. We should be getting the inactives here in a minute, I believe. Just
Kareem Hunt came to the game wearing a Nick Chubb shirt, so that
was really cool.
That has me even more locked in than I already was because I didn't
Locked in.
Locked in.
Zach, I need you to get on.
I refuse to say that phrase because everybody's saying it, not following trends.
Zach, I need you to make a shirt design for us and get that on a shirt.
Oh, you follow a lot of trends, bro.
We'll talk to locker first. I'm not following the locked in one.
Come on, buddy.
Then you're not locked in. It's fine.
You're not. You're locked down.
You're just not locked in. Like, that's how it is.
That's fine. Wait.
All right. I got him. Your inactives for today: Greg Newsome, Ronnie Hickman, Luke Whippler, Isaiah McGuire, Siaki Ika, James Hudson.
Ika's still a little interesting. I kind of thought they'd have him active.
Yeah.
I thought they'd have him active against Derek, given the fact that
for this game.
Yeah.
They just really like the guys they've had out there. All 4 of them, even Jordan Elliott has been playing well. Like I think that's all it boils down to is that they just like those 4.
I mean, they've been playing, through 2 games. They've been playing out of this world. So don't switch it up now. Like, some of those guys are so young and like learning. Yeah, just let this rock because right now this is one of the better defenses. This is probably the best defense we've seen from the Cleveland Browns since 1999. Honestly.
I don't think it's even close.
I just think the biggest thing, like, again, because I get it, like, even Elliott's played well. I seriously thought, though, this is the type of game that Iko would be very beneficial to have because he's that big body defensive tackle that can eat up blocks. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like, you guys are right. Everyone else has played really well, but I feel like if there was a game, because Siaki Ika has not made his season debut yet for the Browns through the first couple weeks, I figured this would be it.
Yeah.
Has McGuire played yet?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I thought he played in week 1.
No.
No, Alex Wright was still active. Alex Wright was active.
Hell, I don't know.
Okay.
Because that's someone that there was a lot of guys. Jacob was like the first one to like put me on him. I was like, all right, sweet. Like let him develop across miles and like he can be in there too. But yeah, he's still a rookie, so that's fine. I just didn't know.
This is a great question I want to ask you guys just because I'm sure there are fans out there that wonder this. And so it's just a good question. You guys probably could put their minds at ease. Does it worry you when you see draft picks and the Browns have had a decent amount this season? When you see draft picks like that inactive, does that ever worry you?
No, they're day 3. They're late day 2, early day 3 picks. Like in this situation, because Siaki Ika in the back end was a compensatory pick in the 3rd round, practically a 4th round pick. Isaiah McGuire was a 4th round pick. Your other 4th round pick is starting at right tackle today. After he played relatively well against one of probably the best edge rusher in football. I said it. Bite me.
I hate it.
You're probably not wrong.
He's the most let's call him the most productive edge rusher in football.
Most disruptive.
He ruins the Browns' day every time they play him. Every single time.
Every single day. But outside of that, I'm fine with it. Like because you're getting a lot of these. We say this every year, and I beat it at a dead horse at nauseum about this. Like day 3 picks are lottery tickets that play special teams and develop to be later contributors if they can. So I'm not concerned about it. I thought Siaki Ika sucked going into the draft anyway, so I don't give a shit if he's not out there. But like, it is what it is. Although I agree, he can anchor.
Locked in. Jacob is locked in.
That is locked out behavior.
That's it. I'm done. I'm leaving.
The Titans inactives for today are Peter Skoronski. We already talked about him. Jalen Duncan is an active offensive lineman. Wide receiver Colton Dowell, never heard of him. Linebacker Caleb Murphy. Will Levis is inactive. Kendall Vildor and Travis Gibson is inactive. So no one Titans
who
are
any of
pretty
those
healthy.
outside of Skoronsky.
Hmm?
I don't know
You
who
said-
any of those people are that you just
You don't
said.
know who Levis is? Mayo into the
Oh,
coffee.
my bad, Levis. Yeah, but I forget about him because
The only thing that dude will ever be famous for.
His hot girlfriend.
mayonnaise and coffee.
Whoa. What are we doing?
Very
we're,
Very different.
we're devolving as this show continues on. It
Oh
just
my
gets worse.
goodness, dude.
I love it.
Oh, it's
So happy
hilarious.
Kate's with us now.
I'm gonna take my
Huh?
shirt off.
It makes me so happy.
So today's going to be a big game, obviously. Deshaun Watson, through the first two games so far, been kind of underwhelming. But one thing of encouragement is when he started in Houston, his first couple starts, he was actually normally rated as one of the worst quarterbacks in the league through the first couple games. He's going to go up against a team that historically he plays very well against. He's played really well against Mike Vrabel. 14 touchdowns, I believe, 2 interceptions. Do you guys expect Deshaun Watson to be for this to be his breakout game, or do you think this is still going to be a slow process?
I think better.
I think-
That block button's getting hit a lot.
I'm just looking for a step in the right direction. Honestly, I think at this point, the most important thing is to come out of this game with a win. I hate that the bar is going this low, but for right now, if you can win this game, if you can get Deshaun looking like he's taking a step in the right direction, because I think one of my biggest questions is we have seen quarterbacks in Cleveland be mentally chewed up and spit out time after time after time. And there's obviously been a lot of stuff going on now. We've seen the blocking spree on Twitter, the whole thing. So can you, after this, I mean, let's be honest, it was a disaster on Monday night. Okay. So after that disaster, can you bounce back? Can you look like a guy that has some confidence that is moving forward, that can still improve despite all this noise around you? That's where I'm at right now. Just come out, lead the offense down the field. If Jerome Ford needs to do the heavy lifting, if Kareem Hunt does it, or whoever, that's fine. Just find a way to win the game and look like. I just need to see that Deshaun mentally is not regressing, because I think we have seen that happen with so many Browns quarterbacks, and that's my key.
That is exactly, and that's what we saw with Baker a lot. We were like, he's mentally regressing. He's getting worse mentally. He's out of it. He cannot snap back into his groove that we saw in 2020 for a while. With Deshaun, a lot of people, because I listen to 93 The Fan a lot in the morning show at work, and they asked the question, would you rather see Deshaun play better, like 300 yards, 2-3 touchdowns, or the Browns win? A lot of people said they'd rather see Deshaun just play better because they want to see that they have that. I agree. I'd rather see the Browns win. I think Deshaun would rather see the Browns win than him have a lights out game. I think the team just wants to win.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that was interesting that fans are like, no, I'd rather see our future quarterback, franchise quarterback, just finally start to click. But I think today is the chance you see both. I think you can see Deshaun finally. This is not a good secondary, guys.
No, it's not.
The Titans do not have a strong secondary, and I feel like this is a game where you can see, just get that momentum moving forward, start to click a little bit, and just keep that momentum moving forward into future weeks. And right before the bye week, I think it could be a perfect scenario.
Absolutely. And with that, Zach, so he's starting to find chemistry. He's already found it with Amari Cooper, 7 for 90 last week. After a game, we all thought, oh, hey, you should probably sit this one out, dude. And then we're all just like, oh, okay, sweet. There goes Amari Cooper. But then him and Elijah Moore were connecting a lot, just not inbounds. They were right there on a lot of those sideline plays. So while he didn't play well at all, I'm not going to say he played even remotely close to well. He lost us that game, actually. But he has a chance now, like you said, that secondary is not good. They allow 281.5 yards a game through the air. That bodes well for Deshaun. And as someone mentioned earlier, he's used to playing this team. Not necessarily this exact team, but this franchise. And I said that on my show the other night. I was like, maybe the familiarity of the AFC South will get him back on track. And, I would love to sit here and say, yeah, I think this is the game where he goes for 300. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect. I'm basically watching Baker Mayfield again here. And I'm not saying that they're anywhere close to talent-wise or anything like that, but just the fact that they're both going backwards mentally, as Nick said. Now we need Deshaun to go forward. Baker would do that at times and then revert back.
This, I think this comment wins. Just stop scoring for the other team.
Sounds good.
Easy enough.
Let's
Right?
just
Please.
stop doing that. No. Like Jim's on to something there, man. Just stop. You don't score for the other team on Monday. You
2-0
win by
right
10
now.
points. Yeah,
Yep.
you win by double digits. Like just saying.
Like if you're the Bengals, and let's say the Bengals lose Monday night and they're 0-3, they can still say to themselves, "Hey, we started slow last year. We got Joe Burrow. If he gets healthy, we have faith that we can turn this around." And you keep everybody engaged. If you're the Steelers and you're 1-2, it's like last year they were 1-3. They finished with a winning record on the season. It's like they battled back. But the Browns are not to that point yet, where like we have not seen them come out of a hole of a record and have that mental fortitude and be able, like, there's too much noise around the Kevin Stefanski firing stuff just gets louder. I do not have faith that the Browns at this point can climb out of a hole if they put themselves in one. So I honestly, however Deshaun plays, that's the winning is paramount to me. You need to shift the momentum and the mentality around the team, because we've seen way too many times a season, a month old goes way off the rails because the record is bad. You can't do that again. You're not the Bengals. You're not the Steelers. You need to get momentum going in the right direction. That's it. You have to.
I think the biggest thing is because obviously their secondary is struggling. The Titans' secondary struggles. There's no doubt about that. But one thing they do have, Jeffrey Simmons is healthy on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, my biggest worry today is that offensive line because, and it's not, this might shock you, it's not Jed Wills and DeJuan Jones, because I'm expecting Jed Wills not to be good anyway, so my expectation for him is low anyway. Wyatt Teller and Ethan Posick have to be way better this week than they were against the Steelers. If they're not, we're screwed. 100% screwed. Doesn't matter what else happens on the offensive line. If Ethan Posick is getting beat as soon as he snaps the football, it's a consistent problem. And Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And if they're not better today, the Browns offense won't do much. Period.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because earlier this week on my show, I talked to Mike Patton, who covers the Titans, and we talked about it. And I told my buddy last night, who's also a Titans fan, I was like, it's similar to the Steelers matchup, but instead of it being DeJuan Jones and Jedrick Wills, it's like, oh, okay, can they do it? Now it's posted in, like you just said, like, that is a key. And, like, it worries me a little bit, but not as much. Last week, I was a little bit more worried than I am this week, but you're absolutely right with that, Tyler. I think the Tennessee defensive line is arguably the most underrated in all of football. They don't have, like, the flashy edge rushers like the Browns or the Steelers or any of these other teams do, but they have guys that is work. They have 7 sacks combined so far this season. They're a force to be reckoned with. But, like, I'm glad you said that, Tox. That's the perfect thing, because they flipped from the Steelers. Like, everything against us, it's like a similar matchup against the Steelers, but flipped a little bit. The Titans have a better offense. They have the better quarterback. Now, they have a better they have a better interior defensive line than the Steelers, not on the edges, though. It's very interesting to see this. So I'm glad you said that. That's a great observation.
I agree with Eddie, though. The Titans' defensive line might be the most underrated, because Simmons is a problem, but it isn't just Simmons. Danico Autry, dude, he'll play everywhere too. They'll move him inside, outside. You got Harold Landry, you got Arden Key, Tart on the inside. Like this is a thorough unit, and they will get after you. The Browns are going to be under siege, and Watson particularly deals with inside pressure poorly. He likes to step up and evade and find rushing lanes and then break out. If he's getting pressure, like Tyler said, right off the rip from Pochitz or Teller just getting beat off snap, that's a recipe for disaster for today.
Listen, whatever.
The pumpkin spice ain't hitting good enough.
It's not hitting right now. Listen,
Trash.
Homage just dropped probably my favorite Homage shirt of all time.
Oh, really?
Is that Beavis and Butthead?
You seem really enthusiastic about it.
Look at this. Just the football logo.
That's
from-
fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the item of the game. So you can go to our friends over at Homage. I'll help you out.
So I don't know if everyone knows this, but the item of the game, they do that for every Browns home game. So that's just a limited drop for that. So make sure to check that out. links all over. There's links in the chat. Make sure to go check that out because they are the best shirts ever.
So
here-
I'm sorry, Casey. Go ahead. I just want to ask everybody, as we're looking at this here, and obviously we want the Browns to win. What are your keys to a Browns win?
Contain Derrick Henry.
And
Titans offense will do absolutely nothing if you contain Derrick Henry, because Ryan Tannehill is an NFL quarterback. He's a better athlete than I've ever been at any point in my life and ever will be. Like, credit to him. Congratulations. He is not a guy that is going to win you a football game at this point in his career. He's not. There's a reason the Titans have drafted quarterbacks in back-to-back years. Tannehill's not their guy. He's there right now because they have nobody better, and they can't get rid of Tannehill. So that's why. Stop Derrick Henry. I believe you win this game if you contain Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry so far this year, this is important to note, he is only rushing for 3.6 yards a carry, 40 carries, 143 yards, 1 touchdown. And Tajay Spears, who is his backup, is actually doing better. Now, he doesn't have as many carries, but he brings another dimension to that backfield that they have not had in recent years. So just something to consider there.
Hey, I got a key. Don't score for the other offense, dummies.
Oh, here's a key. Don't have the first design play from scrimmage for you be a fucking design pass. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
Quota filled.
A design pass to the backup tight end. Please don't do that ever again in my life. Like, I've been thinking about that all week. I saw someone say
it was open, dude. He's got to catch the football.
No, I'm completely fine with it. The play call was right. The execution was just not there, as we've seen for the past 4 years of the Browns football. But I saw that the other day. And I couldn't process the game what I saw fully because of the Nick Chubb injury. The next day I get on Twitter and someone's like, "Why was the first first play of the game a design pass to Harrison Bryant?" And I was like, "Wow,
it worked.
It worked. No, don't get me wrong. It worked if he catches that thing, and that he should have caught that 1,000%. But why not put that in David Njoku's hands if you're going to do that, or someone else's hands? It's not him. The backup tight end. Why? I know it's not expected. I've been thinking with that all week. I really am anxious to see what the first play the Browns run on offense today is.
I just don't get the hate for that. It's not like Harrison Bryant's been a bum for you. He's had a couple. I know he's had a 2 touchdown game for you. I think you expect a guy that is your tight end to be able to catch the ball. And I just don't see the problem. I understand that you want the ball to go to your best players. I get that. But if he's open and Deshaun throws him the ball, there should not be a problem. I don't see the issue with the play call when the guy is open, and it should be an easy pass to start the game, get your quarterback in rhythm. I don't understand why that's an issue.
The play call was great. It worked if he executed. And that's the thing with the Browns is they don't execute. So that we get a lot of hate or hear a lot of hate on Stefanski, right? Oh, he should have done this. If you just do a lot more RPOs and slants and you're going to win. Okay, then every team should just do RPOs and slants because that's the key to winning in the NFL, of course. But it's all about the execution. So there's a lot of times last year we saw a 4th down play, a receiver would drop the ball. Oh, Stefanski should have done that. No, so I'm not arguing the play call. I'm just arguing who it was to. And I know that he should have caught it, but you have David Njoku, who everyone on this show has said is going to break out. Well, he's in year 7, so we know who he is. That doesn't mean he can't be good to great, but we know who he is, and we all love him. But Harrison Bryant getting the first design play, and he should have caught it. So maybe that's why I'm more concerned, upset with it. He didn't catch it, and that.
Deshaun's completing deep passes in shorts. Locked it.
Ooh, locked
Listen, I'll say this. You now are without Nick Chubb. I get it. You brought Kareem Hunt back. It's great. This offense needs to go completely just shotgun based. Right now, the Browns are 31st in shotgun formation usage right now this season. Why?
I don't.
Why?
Because
Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league playing out of the shotgun. So naturally, what that means is we need to run it as the least amount as possible because that's what he's best at, right? Is that how that works? Or
it's something. It's something.
That is a fair criticism. I feel like there's a lot of unfair criticism of Stefanski's play calling out there. But Tyler, I feel like that is a legitimate gripe. If you look at where Deshaun's thrived, and if you look at what the offense is doing, that feels fair. Maybe they do run more shotgun. I don't. Do you think it's a concern over the protection?
I honestly don't know what it is, but if you look at when he was in Houston in 20, now again, we're revisiting Houston, but it's important for the context.
Sure.
In Houston, they were 5th in the NFL. They ran it 64% of the time out of shotgun, and they were 6th in RPO usage. The Browns are 28th in RPO usage. That you're going to have – dude, I don't know what we're waiting for, but listen, because I'm with you, Nick. I think Kevin Stefanski's play calling is really criticized when it shouldn't be. Because if you watch the All-22, and for people that like on Twitter that act like he's a terrible play caller, dude, buy NFL Plus and watch All-22. Guys are open. At the same time, you have a quarterback that you've invested this much money into, and we talk about the contract all day long. He does need to earn that money. Your job as the head coach is also as the play caller. More importantly, you got to put him in the best position to succeed. Mm-hmm. I get it. He wants to run his system. He wants to do this and that. The Browns are still running a lot of shotgun. This offense should be completely based out of the shotgun. It should nearly look like we're watching a college football game on Sunday, because that's who Deshaun Watson is. He is not a guy that is doing play action. He's not a play action passer. He's not a quarterback that should be playing under center all the time. That's just not who he is. And should he be good at those things? You know what? He's an NFL quarterback. You can make the argument that, yeah, he should be good at it. But that's not his strength. So why are you playing to the guy's weakness? Play to his strength. The Browns, they start playing in shotgun. Maybe Deshaun Watson might look a lot better. Just a thought.
Well, first I want to say I didn't mean to trigger you. Second, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I do this on my show, Tyler. I know exactly what you're talking about. You just get fed up and you're like, I got something to say and I need to say it. So yeah, I'm all for it. I just like to make stupid jokes afterwards. No, I forgot. Never mind.
Okay, so Tyler, like you said, they haven't run out of shotgun much. I think that's because of Nick Chubb, honestly. And obviously, nobody wants Nick Chubb off the team. But now with him off the field, because all offseason, we heard that Deshaun's getting the keys to the offense. It's his offense, and then Chubb's still going to be a big factor, right? Well, now Chubb isn't a factor at all, sadly. So now we can get more into the Deshaun style, the shotguns and whatnot. Because Jerome Ford, while we all think he can do well, nobody's ever going to be Nick Chubb and replace him fully like that. But he can have production. He might. So for the rest of the season, if he had 800-plus yards, that's a win for the Browns, right? But now he doesn't have to be relied on as much if they switch to that more up-tempo offense. And maybe that's where we see Kareem Hunt a little bit more, too. Maybe he might not be effective like with a bunch of the stats. Like a lot of people look at the box score and like, oh, he didn't do much. But in that pass protection out of the shotgun, I think that's where Kareem Hunt can excel for this week. He doesn't have to run for a bunch. Just protect Deshaun Watson and maybe slip out for a pass or two.
I got it. I remembered. It took a while, but I remembered. So I remember 2020, and I feel the same way about this game and Deshaun Watson as I did about Baker Mayfield after the first game against the Ravens in 2020, where they get shit canned, and then they're looking down the barrel of a Thursday night matchup with a rookie in Joe Burrow and the Bengals that going into that. And I was doing a show with my this was pre-Barking Browns, but I was doing a show with a friend of mine who's a Giants fan, and I think what I said is that Baker was afraid to let it rip. Like going into that game, when I watched him, there was so much hesitancy against the Ravens, and I think you see that from Deshaun, not as much as Baker in that particular game, but I felt like that about Deshaun last game. Like Casey and I talked about this on Friday. There's a point in which Amari's running a crosser. There's not somebody within 15 yards of Amari. It was just an excellent play design and execution from everybody not named Deshaun Watson on that play. And everybody says, well, he wasn't getting protected well enough. At the height of his drop, when he sets his back foot in that drop, Amari is directly in front of him, wide open. I know that later, once he starts to scramble, is when everybody else noticed he was open. But if you watch that all 22, it's clear that he's open, and he's going to get more open if you just lead him, right? And he gets there. I don't know. Is he afraid? Is he not confident? What is it? And he decides to scramble for 2 yards instead of what should have been a 30-plus yard completion that could have been a touchdown, knowing Amari Cooper and what he can do after the catch, because there was another wide receiver downfield of Amari Cooper that could have sprung him for the score. And I'm just afraid that right now, and Watson says all the things he's supposed to say. I'm not going to lose confidence in myself. I know what I can do on the field when I am who I truly can be as a football player. We've heard all of that. That's great. Just let the damn ball rip, man. Because at this point, you're playing cautious and you're only completing 55% of your passes. So it can't be worse than that if you go out there and let it rip. Take I said it earlier in the week, let's put some training wheels on him. No, screw that. Take all of it off, put it all on his shoulders, and give him exactly what he says he wants. Because if you can't put it all on his shoulders and he can't succeed, you're screwed anyway. So just do it.
Hell yeah.
When I look at the Watson situation, for me, it comes down to processing. He's not processing. He has no pre-snap to post-snap recognition. He's having issues. So put him in the shotgun to get his eyes where he's used to seeing the game. That's the angle he's used to seeing all this from. So having him under center, turning his back, it's already messing up his processing even further. So put him in pistol, put him in shotgun, get him in advantageous situations, start running some inside zone, which actually suits Kareem Hunt way better than outside zone.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's a couple of tweaks they could do right here, right now, that's going to at least improve the floor of Watson. Because right now, you wanted keys to the game slightly above average quarterback play, and they beat the Titans by more than 10 points. To me, it's that simple. So get him feeling comfortable. If you do that, man, everything else should take care of itself.
There's no excuses. There's no excuses for this offense to be majority under center anymore. There is absolutely no – if after this week we're still running the majority of our plays under center, at that point, then I'm going to start having a problem with Stefanski. The play calling, I do not have a problem with. But now the safety blanket isn't there anymore. Nick Chubb is not there anymore. You have to play to the strength of the guy that you are paying to be the face of your franchise. If you're not going to do that, then I'm going to call it what it is. Get me a guy in here that's going to do it. Because if Stefanski's not going to do it, I love Coach, truly. I think he's dealt with a lot of crap since he's been here. He's dealt with a lot of awful circumstances and still found ways to win games. And he's been the winningest coach we've had since the Browns have been back in '99, which is awesome and also very sad at the same time. Yep. But, dude, if you're not going to play to the strength of your best player, like who's supposed to be the face of your franchise, I need you gone and somebody that will. I'm sorry. I do. And, yeah, Jacob, dude, there's little things. So I love Stefanski, but then there's little things brought up, and it just makes me think, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a giant question mark considering the comments, and not just the comments we saw in training camp in the preseason, but what we saw. Like, I saw the evolution of the running game out of shotgun. Like, we saw that in the preseason, not just with backups, but when we saw some of the starters. Like, we've had conversations about this, and it's just like, yeah, man, like, if you're not gonna do this, like, somebody will do it. Like you said, like, somebody's going to do it. I also am terrified that they're going to go fire him and hire Eric Bieniemy. So, like, I'm
terrified of that?
Jim Harbaugh, actually. Might be Jim Harbaugh.
And this is
don't
why...
wish that on us either. What is happening here? What is happening?
Hey, I'm not wishing shit on anybody. I'm saying that is what it feels like, because right now,
that's exactly what I've been thinking, dude.
Like,
and this is why they have to win.
So that we don't have to have this conversation.
We lost one game, and granted, it was terrible. We lost one game, and we're already having these conversations.
It was poopy butthole.
You can't do this for a whole nother year. We already last year had to deal with Deshaun being suspended for 11 games and Jacoby Brissett and the whole season, basically being a mulligan. You can't do it again. Right? I cannot fathom wasting another year of this core. The Browns have a hugely winnable stretch of games towards the end of the year, and I feel like if they can just find a way, like, all of a sudden you're looking at the schedule and you're like, it's really not that daunting. Like,
it's not.
Everything is there. They have to find a way. After spending all offseason talking about how crazy the AFC is and how loaded it and how tough it's going to be to make the playoffs, you're looking around at the schedule now and you're like, okay, this is actually a reasonably doable situation. I just want to say that I'm looking it up right now because I want to be accurate. So the final month before the Browns close the season against the Bengals, they have the Jaguars, Bears, Texans, Jets. There is a real opportunity to make a playoff push if they just keep their heads above water, that we don't have to have these firing conversations and disaster scenarios. I see everything that's there. And I think by far and away the most frustrating thing is the Steelers are abysmal offensively, and you let their defense win the game for them. Yeah. So you can't. You had that stumble. You had that mess up. You can't do it again. The Titans are not a good football team. You must win today. This is a must win for me. It's a must win. That's it. Bar none. Win.
100%. So because we got Baltimore coming in next weekend.
Yeah. Yep. So I have this double-sided question to you. So first off, I don't think Kevin Stefanski's on the hot. He's going to be here all of 2023, regardless of what happens. They could lose all the rest of their games. He's going to be there until at least week 18, right? So was he on the hot seat prior to this game after the loss to the Steelers? Or if he loses today, is he on the hot seat? I don't think he's on the hot seat personally, but I just want to get your guys' take on because all this talk fire.
So it's gotten lukewarm. I think going into last week, it wasn't even warm. I think you go in there, but the thing is, it's not just what happened in that game, because that's not the problem. It's the way it happened. Yeah. It's the fact that you're looking at the quarterback position and it is not getting better. Uh-huh. And I get it. Everybody believes. I know Tyler's talked about it a bunch about he needs some more time. Let him get into the second half. But I'm not seeing flashes. You need to see progress. And you're not seeing progress. Yep. So, in my mind, you're delusional if you're not at least thinking about it. I'm not saying that it's hot. I'm not saying that you fire him before the bye. I'm not overreacting and saying tear it up right now. Mm-hmm. But the way it has played out, you should absolutely be trying to figure out contingency plans, because you're not getting rid of Watson. It's highly improbable that it is going to happen because of that contract and that structure. So what the Browns are going to have to do, and whoever is the regime after this, is figure out how to win with him. And if it continues in this path, it is going to have to be with somebody else.
That's fair.
That's it.
No, that's fair. That's completely fair.
Do we need game predictions?
Yeah.
To get out of
yeah,
here?
We're about to. Eddie, I'll say real quick on that. Like, if today against Tennessee you lose at home and that offense looks absolutely horrid, it will start to get hot, because you got Baltimore coming to town, and I'm not – listen, man, I hate having these conversations. I really do. Like, it actually pains me because, like I said, I root for Coach. I do. I don't want him gone. But, dude, if you lose this game and then you lose to Baltimore and you're at that bye week and you're 1-3, you're screwed. Absolutely screwed. So, period. All right.
Give announcements.
Good job, Jacob. Way to keep us on track, man, because sometimes you just get to rambling and lose your mind a little bit.
Just because we all love this team. We all just love this team and want them to succeed, and we're very passionate about it, and I think that's what makes us a great group of people to do this every week. So passion, we just want them to win. And if Deshaun Watson came out and played the worst game of his life and the Browns still win, I don't care. We win. That's it.
True.
Winning fixes everything.
Watson to play well, but if he plays terribly and we win, like Monday, we should have won that. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Bare minimum, you have to be 2-2 entering the bye. Bare minimum. It's non-negotiable, because we have been in that situation a million times where you enter the bye with a terrible record, and inevitably the reports come out during that week. Morale drops that week. Everything goes off the rails. You must avoid it at all costs. Be 2-2 at worst.
Order in the court, damn it. Around the horn. Score predictions. Nick, go.
Score prediction: 24-13 Browns.
Zach.
38-10 Browns.
Jesus. Tyler. I like it.
I'm sticking with the same one. There's no flipping this week. I got the Browns 27, Titans 10. I can't see the Titans scoring 2 touchdowns in this game.
All right.
The Browns have let up 1 touchdown all year. Eddie,
I got Browns 27, Titans 10.
Casey,
21-18. Take the under.
take the under. Take the over
the
by
under.
1.5 points. 24-17 Browns.
Oh man, I love it. I love game day so much. It's like we have a chance to like put all this past week behind us. This past week sucked for a multitude of things. We lost Chubb, we lost the game, and now we get a chance to start over. That's what I love about the NFL so much. It's so quick. All right, boom, we're back at it.
And I
We
don't
got
know.
all the momentum in the world with the Buckeyes pulling off that win last night. Let's carry it into today, baby.
We got to
Yep.
wrap this up. I got to take a nervous
I
shit.
don't know if it's been announced yet, but are we? Is the official? Are we officially doing our post game show later tonight? Is that live?
No, it'll release on Monday.
Okay, we will have a post game
Monday,
reaction
Monday.
show that will release on Monday,
Monday
regardless of outcome. So look for that. With that being said, this has been a Browns preview show. Network 216 Lockerverse. Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe. We're doing a jersey giveaway soon. I'm Nick.
I already did the jersey giveaway.
Zach. We did the jersey giveaway. Casey,
I bought it yesterday.
Tyler.
Homage.com.
Browns.
Homage.com. Check them out. Homage.com.
Oh, am I supposed to turn this thing off? I guess.
Amazing.